Hi everybody, this is Joseph Ludraja, Assistant Professor, Department of English. Today's topic that we are going to discuss in our session is the art of performing interview. Now, what do you mean by the word interview? The word interview stands for, it is a screening process of an employer. When a person interviews, we understand that we are scanned, screened based on our IQ and EQ. So in this today's session, I would like to categorize the entire session into 5 different aspects. Number 1, self-exploration. Number 2, risks and rewards. Number 3, know yourself. Number 4, know your position. And the 5th one is communication skills. Now, we call the art of performing interview it is nothing but an employer wants to know whether he wants to recruit the right candidate for the right position. So, what is our unique selling point? Otherwise, you call it USP, unique selling point. So, we understand that every individual is unique, is creative, to a certain extent also moderate, fashionable. But when it comes to the interview, we call it unique selling point. In a particular class, all the 60 students do not get placed. So what could be the main reason for those who are not given an placement opportunity? The main reason could be USP. That means the candidate has not applied sufficient unique selling point. Now, what this interview is all about? This interview is all about a gateway. Gateway is nothing but an entry to a particular corporate sector or any companies to perform well. Now, straight away let us move to the first topic of our discussion. The first one is self-exploration. If I am not mistaken, you understand the word self. In otherwise, you call it I concept. We say a person owns 2 pens, but at the same time we say I am angry, I am lovable. In these 2 sentences clearly explain the difference between a person owning a particular feeling, a particular thing. Of course, when we say or when I say a particular thing, I own 2 pens, it is not part of me. But at the same time, when I say I am angry, it is part and parcel of myself. So when I say self-exploration, the word exploration understands we give lot of opportunities to a particular individual. So what could be most possibly the word self-exploration means for us in terms of interview or gateway? So when I say a particular company, particular job, particular career, I say that this I should be developed. I concept should be improved. So I see the possibilities and I see the explanations and I start improving or concentrating more on this particular I. When I learn something about this I move to risks and rewards. When I wanted to improve myself, lot of risk factors involved in this improvement. So what risks could we take in terms of interview? I choose a company. I know that it is a fantastic recruiter. Then based on a particular company, I started taking risks. I started improving myself. Well, those risks lead me to my rewards. Rewards could be incentives or promotions or in the form of properties, bungalow, car or what, etc. So risks and rewards go hand in hand. Imagine I don't take risk at all. What will happen? There will be punishment instead of rewards. No risks, no rewards. More risks, more rewards. So punishment will lead me to a life of darkness. And all my friends will be placed in the companies, but I am not. The mere reason could be I have not taken any risks in my life. The third concept is know yourself. What's the difference between the first one, self-exploration, and the third concept, know yourself? There are four important factors psychologists speak of me. Number one, I know myself, the others know me. Number two, the others know me, but I do not know. The third thing, I know, the other do not know. And the fourth category is neither I know nor the others know. So when I know about myself, I understand I am weak in my mathematics, I am weak in my physics, I am weak in my chemistry. So what are the steps I could do it is, I need to improve mathematics, physics and chemistry. I know that I am going to be placed in Wipro. So I know about the company, about me and what are my responsibilities and other areas of interest. The fourth category is know your position. Of course, nobody wants to get an ordinary job in any companies. We would like to get a job which gives us or which downpours a lot of money or which gives lot of incentives, lot of promotions. Different companies handle this money factor in different ways. Some companies give increment every month, some companies annual and some companies every by month. So when I know that knowing my position is an important factor with which I involve myself in the interview. And the last category, until 4 we covered something about this I concept, and the fifth one concentrates something on language. You call it English. So we could form a formula, I plus English language, you call it success or placement. So what it means when I say communication skills, everyone born on this earth is not able to speak much better. But when I handle the language of English, people understand it is an international language. As a result, they give me an opportunity to work in any corporate world. So what comes to improve this particular language, communication skills? You may have a doubt in yourself, Why not I plus Tamil? Will it lead you to placement? No, not at all. I plus Telugu, I plus Kannada. It is not at all going to lead you to any placement opportunities. So the formula rightly says I, the self, plus the language of English, that is 100% is going to lead you into placement opportunities. Of course, we have a lot of strategies to improve this communication skills. When I say communication skills, all the 4 skills are equally important, starting with listening, speaking, writing and reading. In the corporate sector or in the corporate world, what plays a major role? Number 1, speaking. Number 2, writing. Imagine my boss expects me to convene a meeting. So what I need to do? I need to convene a meeting. After that, I need to submit the report. So writing the minutes and sending the report is 2 important factors of the language. Apart from this, listening and reading, speaking and writing plays a vital role. So all these 5 concepts, when you develop before the interview, I call it pre-interview. So there are 2 important factors. One is a pre-interview, the other is while interview. We engineers understand while interview is an important one, and we do concentrate on this particular aspect of while interview. How many of us concentrate more on the first concept, pre-interview? We not at all. Surely, if you follow these 5 concepts of the gateway of interview, surely we are going to be 100% or centum success in our placements. Oh, what comes next? The next 5 concepts while interview is the next 5 concepts are: number 1, dress code. Number 2, gestures. Number 3, mannerism. Number 4, eye contact. All these 4 important concepts play a vital role in performing while interview. So when it comes to while interview, what else should I do? What a candidate or a student should do? First thing, dress code. So it is wise enough that every institution, every management follows strictly about the dress code. A dress code of a boy and a girl. So what should be the dress code of a girl and a boy? A proper, moderate, fashionable dress is suitable for both boys and girls. So boys, they should go with a neat plain shirt, contrast in color shirt and the pants, and the shirt is tucked and the shoes are tied up with lace and the tie. And the girls, not with much cosmetics, maybe with lipsticks and heels or any transparent attire. So moderate, acceptable, fashionable dress code is always welcomed. And for gents, they need to properly shaved and the hair should be properly trimmed. And the second concept is gestures, especially of nodding. Nod. What do you mean by the word nod? Imagine an interviewer asks you a question and the candidate is supposed to, along after the answers, one need to nod their head for yes nod their head for no. So gestures play a vital role, and especially freshers of engineers, we have a common mode of playing with pens and notebooks even in the classroom, and the same classroom habit is being carried out in the interview. So gestures, one needs to be very, very, very careful about it. Next comes the mannerism. What sort of mannerism do I have when I meet an interviewer? I am an interviewee. When I meet an interviewer, how should I greet a person? How should I enter inside? And when I stamp the leg of somebody, I need to surely by all means go for asking sorry. So mannerism also plays a vital role. And the last one is eye contact. Experts say by looking at one's eye, we can understand that the person says truth or lies. So eye contact is the main powerful important tool in the interview. When the interviewer asks me a question, I need to look at his eyes and answer the questions. So eye contact is an important tool when I take up public speaking or performing interview. So we cannot say that eye contact alone will help me to answer my questions, but the candidate should help them or make them to answer the questions to the person. So one need to say, answer the questions, but not the person. So in the interview, we come across lot of questions, starting from the self intro till the last question, why should I select you? All those questions, we need to answer the questions, but not to the person. Imagine what happens when I answer the questions to the person. Sometimes I become vexed, I become angry. It happened, if I am not mistaken, in 2007 there was a question by the interviewer to the interviewee. The question goes this way. Imagine you have a sister. I run away with your sister. The clever boy answered after giving a pause, sir, I will be the happiest person ever in the world. Of course, the question is so stressful. The candidate might have got angry, but he did not. He answered the question smartly and said, I would be the happiest person ever in the world. So we need to answer the questions. Based on the questions, we need to cleverly and shrewdly, we need to answer the questions, not the questions to the persons. So far, we have learned something about pre-interview and while interview. Now in while interview, there are other 4 more areas to be covered. They are, number 1, presentation skills. Number 2, negotiation skills. Number 3, stress management. Number 4, time management. So in any company, after the recruitment, after the interview, these are the 4 important aspects. 1, experiences. In a particular interview, I need to present myself positively. When people understand, when they look at me, they should understand that I am a person who says things, everything positively, not a person who sees everything negatively. So in English we have a word, optimism and pessimism. When I say optimism, I see everything positively. I sit in the bus, I consider and I hope the driver takes me safe. Not the driver, when will he put me into the ditch. So I think everything positively and present myself positively. The word present says it is right now happening. If it is past, we call it something happened already. Something going to happen, I am not sure whether it will happen or not happen. That's why the present is called as the right word in English. So in presentation skills, your dress code, your mannerism, eye contact, gestures, all these things all covered. After I present well with my boss, with the HR, the next one is negotiation skills. So my prior objective is to get a high salary in a company. How I expect this high salary from my interviewer? By mere bargaining, by mere negotiation. Of course, the freshers are given minimum 22 above, but after 3 months or after 6 months or even so to say after a year, I am given a lakh salary. How it is possible? All my salary is based on my performance in my interview, my negotiation skills in the interview, the bargaining skills in the interview. So negotiation is based on typically the person's mentality, the person's experience, the person's qualifications. So if at all your qualification is right, your technical skill is apt, your communication skill is fantastic, affluent, you can go for bargaining your or selling your skills, which we have seen already in the previous session, USP, unique selling point. After I get into the company, what happens with me? I come across a lot of work. The workload is dumped on me. So automatically I experience stress. So today we have plenty of psychologists who are able to counsel me, who are able to listen to me, and as a result I am given a stress management. How to manage my stress? Today in this world we have no sufficient time to see or to listen to the other. But what happens when I listen to the other? I develop my kind heart towards my friend. Mostly in Europe we come across psychologists, they get plenty of money for the mere fact they sit and listen to me for about an hour, and they listen to me for about an hour, they get plenty of money. So when in India we are not able to sit and listen to the other, the mere reason is lack of time, and we get bored up, we get boredom. So by sitting and listening to a friend, what gives me a pleasure? Not at all. So stress management. So when I am able to handle this stress better, I know I become a perfect human being. Today all the social evils take place because of this particular concept called stress management. Not only in the working nature, even in the world outside. That's why in all the companies they have merrymaking rooms and psychologists and other leisure time. All these things enable me to have a stress management. And the last one is time management. When I feel I am stressed, when I feel my negotiation skills are fantastic, I go for adjusting my time. I know how to manage my time. So right from childhood, I would recommend our kids need to be trained well in their time management. So if I know how to manage my time, I am the most efficient person I could be in the company. Imagine I while away the time, what will happen? No salary, no incentives, no promotions, all sorts of negative remarks I start getting in my career. I am punctual, imagine I have time management, I am punctual, all start appreciating me that I am able to keep up the punctuality. So any function takes place, I have a board meeting, I am prompt on time, I am going to the venue exactly on time. So time management also plays an important and vital role. And the last concept could be love your job. Today we come across a lot of movies where heroes and heroines, they are not satisfied with the work that they do. So ultimately we need to love the job that we do it. Whether we sometimes in the beginning we may not like the job, but as time passes by we start loving the job. What happens? What are the positive aspects and negative aspects of this particular concept? Love your job. I love my job, that becomes my passion. I start loving it simply. I commit myself, I dedicate myself ultimately to the job that I am pertaining to. If I don't love a job, I am late to the job, I get angry, I carry home a fire difficulties to the job, and all sorts of nasty things taking place in this negative aspects of loving one's own job. So my dear friends, so knowing what's happening in interview, pre-interview and while interview, one need to be very careful about handling all these 5 concepts in the previous and 5 concepts of this immediate truth. So my dear gentlemen, I hope we all get a fantastic idea about how to attend the interview and how to train oneself before and while. Next important concept that we are going to discuss in our session is the art of writing resume. Before we move into the concept, what's the difference between resume writing and curriculum vitae writing? Of course, apart from these 2 concepts, we have something called biodata also. What is biodata? What is resume writing? What is curriculum vitae? So the differences are much. The biodata stands for only matrimonial purpose. That is, when a bride wants to get a groom or when a groom wants to get a bride, we call it biodata, with personal details are much concentrated, starting with the name, height, date of birth, color of the person, community, all that within a page. That is, you call it biodata. The second is resume. So resume writing is mainly concentrated for freshers. So the main aspect of our concentration is it goes and gives importance to educational qualification. It is of just 2 pages, starting with career objectives and ending with a declaration and signature of the candidate. Now, what is curriculum vitae is? Curriculum vitae is used by experienced people, experienced persons. It goes and gives importance to the experiences, and when I give importance to experience, it goes pages after pages. I work in Wipro for about 3 years, then I move on to Accenture, then I move on to TCS. So this way, every company where I worked, I give a page of description and the working experience that goes in educational qualification, starting with 3 pages to 5 pages. So based on my experience, we have a curriculum vitae. So after learning the differences between biodata, resume writing and curriculum vitae, We are here to concentrate mostly today on the concept resume writing. Of course, in this world of technology advancements, today many people, many candidates send their resume through email. Electronically they send the resume. But the other part of resume writing is a hard copy. So I draft the letter, I draft the cover letter and take down the resume and just staple it and send to a particular company. So what are the important areas I need to cover in resume writing? Number 1, career objectives. Number 2, educational skills. Number 3, personal skills. And the 4th one is a public skill, or you call it people skill. So in these 4 areas I need to cover in my resume writing. Now, what is career objectives? Mostly people do not know, or they are not able to differentiate between a career and the profession. The career is, if I am a teacher, teaching is my profession. So career and the profession are entirely different. And I love my profession and I love my career. So one need to clearly explain the differences between the career objectives in the first part of the resume writing. So how to start this resume writing? Well, so start with the name in the right corner, and these days email ID and the mobile phones are very much necessary and important for the employer to call you in person, over the phone, or through email. So after that you have career objectives. What job you are applying about? So after knowing the job, you need to clearly mention the objectives of a particular job in your resume writing soon after your name and address, email ID and mobile number. So career objectives is an important one in your resume writing. So after mentioning about career objectives, your educational qualifications. As I told you before in my intro to this session, so in resume writing, people give importance to educational qualification. The companies recruit me, I am a fresher, they recruit me for a particular job. Imagine a chief engineer, chief executive. So my educational qualification, my educational skill should be equal to that of the particular job being applied for. So when I say educational qualification, as a fresher, I am supposed to pursue my B or B.Tech. So educational qualification is the first step towards my recruitment, towards my job or career or placement, anything we call it. And the third one is personal skill. What is this personal skill? I am good at maybe a group discussion. I am a good leader. So people call it personal skill. I am unique. I am creative. So when I say a personal skill, it pertains only to me alone. So personal skills based on this particular concept, people have a development. People call whether I am fit for the company or not fit for the company. So personal skills one need to clearly mention in their resume writing. And the last one is public skill, or you call it people skill. In this world we cannot stand alone, we cannot stand aloof. So what I need to do? So I need to work along with my colleagues, along with the other friends of a particular company. So when I say I need to work along with my friends, I need to have or I need to adapt lot of qualifications, lot of skills, lot of talents, which we call it public skill or people skill. Like I am able to adjust myself to the other. Of course, I expect my boss should understand my views. At the same time, I cannot demand him that my decision is the right decision and people should accept me, which is not at all right. And one should admit that the decision is, even if it is wrong, people should admit that I am sorry. So people skill, when you apply certain talents, certain skills in public, you admit and call it public skill or people skill. So in general, before we appear for the interview, what plays a vital role? This particular resume writing. The employer goes through your resume writing and comes to the conclusion that the particular candidate will be suitable for my company or not. The person, when he or she reads, they understand that the person is not seeing you in person, but rather based on your career objectives, your educational skills, your personal skills, public skill or people skill. They come to the conclusion that this particular candidate will be suitable in my company by all means. So to say, in general, it is a mere survival of the fittest. If my resume writing is not up to the mark, people simply tear the resume and just put it in the dump box, throw it in the dustbin. So what happens? One need to be very, very careful about this resume writing, because it's going to be the first screening process of any job that you are going to apply for. So at the end, you sign it, you give a declaration, put the date and send it. Now let us see something about e-resume. So until now we have talked something about how to draft the e-resume writing and send it to the company. Imagine you are working somewhere else, you are living somewhere else, and you need to send this copy electronically to the employer. So what you need to do? Imagine when you take the hard copy, you can go for a proof and send it to them. But electronically when you send it, we need to be very, very, very careful about it. Because of the mistakes, because of the grammar, because of the punctuation marks, one need to be very careful when you send e-resume electronically or in system based one. So in e-resume, what are things needed for? First thing, your email ID. When you send from your own email, your email should be so small and crispy, not elaborative, not with a lot of numbers, not with a lot of spellings, because the employer is not able to identify your own email ID. It should not be a complex one, rather it should be a simplest one if possible. Next comes the subject. So when I say subject, what should I type there in e-resume? In e-resume, the subject could be applying for a particular job regarding. So whatever you type in a hard copy, you call it, you type it in the subject column and send it to them in the form of electronic copy or soft copy. After this subject, you call it a copy to. So imagine you wanted to send the copy to multi companies, maybe one to Wipro, one to TCS, the other to Accenture. So when you send a copy to many companies, we need to type the two addresses properly of all the three different companies. Next comes the body of the letter. So So in body of the letter, whatever you type starting, as I said, career objectives, educational skills, personal skills and public skills. You need to type them in the body of the letter and then go for a spell check, grammatical check, everything at the end. Give regards to the employer and send this copy electronically. So what happens after you send the copy? You get that your message is sent, then confirm that your message is sent, then you go for signing out. So my dear ladies and gentlemen, in today's session we have come across a hard copy of resume writing and e-resume writing. Of course, I take a few minutes to conclude my session. What happens when you follow all these strategies? I am damn sure your resume will speak of the personality rather than your own person when you see a particular employer in person. So follow all these strategies in your resume writing, then wish you all the best.